Hi everyone, this is Yana and I'm excited to share a quick video featuring new Simon Says stamped November 2015 card kit. It is perfect for fall. I'm going to jump right in and start working on my today's card. So first I'm using my anti-static powder pouch and prepping the surface of my watercolor paper for heat embossing. The embossing powder pouch is very helpful and I honestly think it's one of those must-have tools if you like to do a lot of heat embossing. It's just not the same without it. The watercolor paper that I'm using today is a student grade paper. It's not your fancy type of watercolor paper, just regular cheap one. Now I'm using this one instead of the Arches watercolor paper, which I have recently discovered and have fallen in love with, simply because this particular paper is thinner. It's not as thick and therefore it is easier to fussy cut it. I'll be cutting my heat embossed images out and it's much easier to cut images out of thinner paper rather than out of thicker paper. Now I'm using a couple of stamps from the stamp set from the kit and I'm stamping them in Versamark ink clear sticky ink. I'm using outline leaf images and I want to gently watercolor these. So I'm going with outline images instead of solid images. There are solid images in this stamp set as well, a few solid leaves that you can stamp with, say, distress ink that's sprayed with water to have a similar watercolory look, but I prefer to use outline images for this particular card idea. I'm using Hero Art's brass embossing powder and I'm trying to step away from gold for a minute. So this is why I'm using brass and I'm heat embossing all of my stamped leaves using Hero Art's heat gun. So now that I have all of these embossed, I'm going to use my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolor set and gently watercolor these. I'm using round brush number 2 since these are rather small and detailed images and a small brush would work best here. So I'm wetting my brush, adding some water to my watercolors, picking up a little bit of red first and dropping this color onto a few areas on all of my images. I love that I've heat embossed these and now I have a nice raised edge that prevents my color from going outside the lines. I don't have to be as careful as I would have had to be had I only stamped these and not heat embossed these images. So next I'm adding my second color, yellow, and I've cleaned my brush, picked up the second color and adding it to my leaf. At the same time I'm blending my yellow with the red and creating orange. I just love how beautifully these colors blend together and I love this orange color that I'm able to get, and the leaf ends up being so beautiful and naturally looking. Now I'm using Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolor set to color these, but you can use whatever watercolors you might have. I really like this particular watercolor set because of the amount of colors that I have. This one has 24 different colors and I don't have to do as much blending to get the colors or the shades that I like. So I've cleaned my brush, picked up more yellow, and now I'm adding yellow to the second leaf. Again, I'm first applying yellow to some sections, then mixing yellow with red and creating orange, and then spreading that orange onto other areas of the sleeve. Now, this is such a fascinating process, watercoloring. I don't know why, but it just keeps me calm and peaceful. I don't know. And fall is actually perfect to practice your watercolor skills with the warm yellows, with the reds and browns, and oh my. Okay, so after my watercoloring was done, I fussy cut the leaves out using my scissors and then set them aside. Now I'm using a banner stamp from the same stamp set from my kit and I'm stamping it in Simon Says Stamp Sunshine Yellow ink onto a strip of white cardstock. I'm going to be heat embossing a sentiment here, so I'm using a heat gun to dry the ink and basically prep this piece for heat embossing. I'm using the same brass embossing powder to heat emboss a fun "You're the apple of my pie" sentiment onto my yellow banner. Again, using my scissors and cutting the sentiment banner out, leaving a small white border around the yellow banner. Now it's time to assemble the card. So I've already gotten a piece of patterned paper ready and I cut it into a banner, and this paper is a part of the November card kit. I am adhering my heat embossed and stamped banner on top of this patterned paper using scrapbook adhesive foam adhesives to create some dimension for this project. I'm also tucking the leaves in and planning how I want everything positioned on this card. The patterned paper banner is not yet adhered onto my card base. It's only staying there so that I can plan my card better. So I've added an apple sticker to my leaf cluster, and now I'm using solid leaf images from the stamp set from the kit and stamping those directly onto the card base to balance this design out. So I'm using Simon's Duckling, Sunshine, and Melon ink colors to continue the fall color palette for this card. I'm also stamping several leaves in the top right corner, and I'm overlapping a lot of them, making it look like they're, I don't know, fallen off a tree or falling off a tree. I'm just basically creating a nice and beautiful fall leaf cluster. Now, before I adhere the banner onto my card base, I want to apply a rub-on that says handmade for you. This is also a part of the kit. So I'm going to add it right under the banner so that a portion of this rub-on is hidden behind the banner and it only says made for you. Next, I've adhered my banners onto my card, and I also added some stitching to this card. I left the thread as is. I didn't trim it. I guess it added a little bit to that handmade look of this card. And now I'm using a foam square and adhering it in between the banner and the card base to create some more dimension for this project. I really love to have some extra pop of dimension on my cards. Next, I'm foam mounting some of my watercolor leaves and also using glue to adhere the other leaves to have a difference in height on my project. Lastly, I added 2 more apple stickers to the bottom part of this card on top of that stamped leaf cluster and finished making this project. And this is it! You are the apple of my pie card using Simon Says Stamped November 2015 card kit is finished. I hope you liked it. The information about this Simon Says Stamped card kit and card kit subscription can be found below or on my blog. If you'd like to see more videos using products from Simon, be sure to check out the link you see on the screen. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I have new card making videos coming out every week. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!